Hey, what's up guys? In this video I'm going to be giving you an example of aliasing. This is a video request. To produce this example I'm using Serum and I'm using Span, which is a free spectrum analyzer. Just make sure my settings okay. Okay, so how sound works is I will just play this saw wave here. Now this is a saw wave and I'll hold that. So how this works out is this peak right here is the fundamental, right? And then we have harmonics all the way up. And this is the, the DNA of a saw wave, right? And as you move up in key, this fundamental and everything gets shifted up, right? So just to kind of explain that. So when you take a mathematical, I assume mathematically accurate sine wave, as per the formula down here, and you play the sine wave, a sine wave is just the fundamental, and that's what we see here. So a sine wave is a way to, it's used in labs and stuff like that to test equipment, right? So you can take a sine wave, you're like, okay, so it's just a pure sine wave, and you can say, okay, what is distortion doing to this? Oh, we'll do that. Distortion adds harmonics, right? So having this tube distortion, it adds all these harmonics, and you can, experiment that way. So a sine wave is a pure tone. It's the cleanest tone, and you can see what's going on there. So I'm going to give an example of aliasing. So what I'm going to do is go to global and set the oscillator settings to draft. And what this does is, typically it's 2 times oversampling. So when sounds are approaching the Nyquist limit, which I can't explain because I'm an idiot, when the sounds approach the Nyquist limit, they reflect back, and you can see that. So check this out. Right, so that same sine wave, it has these harmonics here, and that's because when you exceed 20 hertz, you get reflections back, and it's not too pleasant, right? And I'll give you kind of a more extreme example of what oversampling sounds like. And the rule of thumb, or the rule of your index finger or whatever, is that as sounds go higher and higher in pitch, the more they have a propensity to alias, right? So if you have like a lot of high frequency content, all that aliases, and it's not good. So I'm going to go up, right? You can actually see now that it reflects down uniformly, right? So we're going to keep on going up and up, and you're going to hear something really unpleasant. Right? So we've effectively, the fundamental has gone to the Nyquist limit, and we have this going on. It's reflecting downwards, and it's a mess, right? And that's what's happening. So say if you have a saw with a lot of harmonics, you get reflections going past down below the fundamental, right? So if we turn on ×2 oversampling, that shit goes away, right? Goes away. Turn it on. Turn it off, I mean. It does that. So like say if we have some like this, something with rich harmonic content already, all that harmonic content reflects back. So generally, how to combat this is to have 2 times oversampling. And you can use Span to kind of test out your instruments, play a sine wave, and go up higher and higher in the keyboard and see what's going on here. Serum is particularly very high quality. Where this matters is EQs. So I have by default, my EQ is always 2 times oversampled for higher frequency content. And if you have a slower CPU, you can get away with not having oversampling on for like lower lower frequency instrument like bass and stuff like that. Um, but if you have like high like pads and like super saws and crazy stuff like that, you want to turn on oversampling. All right. Hope you learned stuff. Take care and have a good one.